3. Hey guys, welcome to Simply Bitcoin, a channel that breaks down all the daily Bitcoin news from Twitter to important updates to cringy fails. We have it all. Before we get started, drop us a like and don't forget to subscribe. Take it away, Phil.
Hey, happy Friday, everybody. We are going to kick it off with Clark Moody Dashboard.
Clark Moody Dashboard.
Right. Maybe we got to get like a sound for that one, huh?
I know.
Okay, no. Okay. All right. Kick it
No,
off.
I said I know. I said I know.
Oh, you know.
No.
I thought you said no. Like, yeah, maybe we could. All right. Okay, so block height, 643,761. Price, 11,784. GBTC premium, 15.7. All right. Chain rewrite days, 526. And total lightning capacity, we are still sitting at 988,000.38 Bitcoin.
Wasn't it, maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me, but wasn't it 978 yesterday?
Yeah. So we actually went up. So it's kind of interesting, right? Because we hit over the 1,000 this week, then we pulled slightly back, and now we're kind of building back up.
Phil, question. Like, this is kind of speculative. What do you think the Lightning Network capacity is going to be exactly a year from now?
Ooh, yeah, let's do that. You know what? If I was to really make an educated guess, I'd say like close to let's say 1,900 BTC.
Okay.
Let's say around 1,900 BTC, and now we have evidence of this. You
Absolutely.
know that I made this terrible call. So we'll find out. We'll see in a year from now if this is real.
I would say around the same number, to be honest. I would say around the same number, and then over time, it's just going to keep getting bigger and bigger. And what's also very bullish about that, Phil, is that like that's locked supply. So that's supply that's not going anywhere, right? So that's very bullish as well.
That's exactly right, because the only time the funds come off of the Lightning Network is when the channels are closed and the transactions are written to the base layer. So unlike some stupid people believe that Lightning is somehow not Bitcoin, it is absolutely Bitcoin.
It's totally Bitcoin.
Anyways.
Totally Bitcoin.
Anyways.
Is it time for the daily fail? It's
time for the daily fail. All right, so here we go. So there's this douchebag all day long. All right, this Ethereum putz.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's right, buddy. Matthew Graham. Ethereum market cap will overtake that of Bitcoin. Inevitable and only a question of when. Okay, so look. So for those of us that have been here for a while, this is the same shit, okay, that we heard back in 2017. This was the exact same thing, okay? And the reality is that back then we had the ICO craze. And even with that giant craze, still didn't manage to overtake Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, Ethereum is not money. And he was totally like throughout the day, like putting out all these tweets again about the supply. Like he got all bitter about the fact that people are questioning the supply and trying to shrug it off, you know, like, oh, it's, you know, it's us that has the issue. Well, it's actually you that has the issue, because you're placing all of your value into something that you actually have no idea what the supply is. So of course, we're going back to that dead horse. I feel bad, but you know, this guy definitely gets the daily fail for today, talking about how Ethereum will overtake Bitcoin.
He takes the Oscar, man. He takes the Oscar, the Grammy, the Tony, everything of the daily fail, for sure. Absolutely. And it's crazy, man. I feel like that flippening narrative, it's so stupid. Like people, it's because people don't understand Bitcoin. Like if people understood like Bitcoin and the strengths of Bitcoin and like why it's so unique, because it really is, right? I don't think they would ever claim those things anymore.
I think you're absolutely right. And again, you know, like, you know, we're not just coming from a place where, you know, I was a total shitcoiner, and I totally remember hearing the narrative of the flippening, and it totally made sense to me. And why did it make sense to me? Because I didn't understand what the base layer of money should be like. So
absolutely.
So the technology narratives, all of these, like this other crappy narrative about Bitcoin being old and slow and this new technology being fast. You don't get me wrong, like move fast and break things. I say this all the time. Move fast and break things is not for money.
It's not. It's for technology. It doesn't work for money.
It's just for tech.
And what's crazy is that Lightning is going to destroy that argument too, right? Because now it's going to be fast and it's going to be secure. So
everything that gets built on Lightning destroys another narrative in the shitcoins.
Absolutely.
Every single time.
100%. So let's talk a little bit about the price. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, man. Let's take a look at the charts.
Let's do it.
Because today we did have some action today. We did seem to pick up.
So I drew this line.
Happy.
I drew this line yesterday, Phil, when we were talking, and check it out. It's pretty fucking accurate.
Yeah,
This little red line, it's pretty accurate. Like I said yesterday, guys, I am expecting a little bit of sideways action. However, I was messing around with the chart yesterday, and guys, it looks like we are forming a trend line up. Usually a trend,
pull it back,
right? So it looks like we're forming. Oh, and you know what? Let's make that even more accurate. There we go. That's the trend. The line that I drew before that is definitely not the trend. That is a clear trend to me, guys. And that's a trend to the upside. And what I've been basically saying this whole week, and Phil has been agreeing with me, is that, man, it looks like we're consolidating, but it actually looks like we're in an uptrend. This is technical analysis, so this isn't 100%. But You know what? It doesn't matter to any of us because we buy Bitcoin every day, whether it's high or low. We keep stacking those sats, right? And that's what's important, is accumulating as much sats on the cheap every day if possible.
Absolutely. And you know what, to your point about the technical analysis, right? There's something like when I was, when I was an amateur stock trader, just doing it on the side, one thing that I learned is that although we'd like to believe that it's a science, it's actually an art. So
it really is,
because really, like, what we're doing is that we are simply looking at price confirmation based on previous activity and 100%. Then inferring from that. So it's, hey, look, it's like, it gives us I think it gives us a good idea of how things can happen, but as we all know, it doesn't take into account the quote unquote black swan events, the events that we are not, the events that we're essentially not thinking of or not aware of,
100%,
until they happen.
100%. And guys,
it's awesome.
Technical analysis is right. It's right. I would say 60% of the time, but 40% of the wrong time, it's a total fail. So just use it as kind of a guidance of where the price is going to go. But if technical analysis was right all the time, everyone would be a billionaire, right?
Oh yeah.
So,
of course.
I think that the next resistance point is 12.5K. I think that's the magic spot. And this uptrend kind of makes me uber bullish. I'm definitely going to stack some sats after this episode. So, I'm looking for the upside, Phil. And
Friday night stack.
Let's move to today's news. GrayScale Investments enjoys its best ever after National Ad Blitz. We were talking about this earlier this week, guys, and it was part of the daily fail. GrayScale released a pretty cool commercial, and it was talking about it was like a 20 second commercial talking about how money has just been printed to infinity now, and how digital assets are a way to kind of protect yourself from that endless printing. But at the end, it was a major fail because they didn't just show Bitcoin, they showed a bunch of shit coins. But you know what? It was pretty cool because they netted $217 million following the campaign, which is super awesome. But this part kind of sketches me out a little bit, Phil. They actually added 14,000 Bitcoins, based on that campaign. This kind of sketches me out a little bit because it kind of, it worries me in the sense of rehypothecation. And what rehypothecation is, guys, essentially is it's basically paper Bitcoin, right? So people are buying Bitcoin, but they're not really buying Bitcoin. They're buying a fund that holds Bitcoin, when in reality, what you should be doing is buying actual Bitcoin, withdrawing it from an exchange and holding it in your own wallet. And that way you don't get fucked by exchanges, right?
Yep, that's right.
So I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was a pretty big deal that they hold such an amount. And just off that ad campaign, they were able to buy 14,000 Bitcoins. Phil, we should launch an ad. What do you think? So this was kind of
an ad and shill a bunch of shitcoin trusts.
Oh yeah, that's true. We should launch an ad for Bitcoin only. How about that? And this was a pretty big deal, guys. The Tor vulnerability. This happened towards the beginning of the week, but we didn't cover it. A Tor vulnerability may have ended dark web Bitcoin theft. So, and this is based on chain analytics, right? So basically, what happens, guys, what Tor is you're essentially you're essentially connecting to the internet by someone else's computer. And what they did is essentially remove the HTTPS, which encrypts your data while you're accessing a website, and they switched it to HTTP, right? And when people were accessing websites, you know, to make Bitcoin transactions, whether you're using a web wallet or something like that, they basically hijacked that web page. So they would either steal the data that you're entering into the page and then go on their own and access those web wallets, or if you're accessing some type of exchange, right? So this was very interesting. They don't know how much Bitcoin was stolen, but, you know, it just goes to show that this is another reason why you should have a cold wallet, right? Because if you had a cold wallet, this wouldn't happen to you, right? So, you know, be careful, guys, when you're using Tor. Use a VPN. Always check the top. Make sure there's a little lock. It's different for every browser, and browse safely.
You're absolutely right. But in the article, they explained that because it's the man in the middle attack, the TLS certificate essentially doesn't display the warning.
Oh, really?
So you like that's scary as hell, man.
That is
because
scary.
Now you think that you're using HTTPS and you don't even know that you're not.
That's super scary, man. Wow.
Yeah, that's scary stuff.
Very scary. But guys, another reason, you know, use a cold wallet, withdraw from the exchange, withdraw directly to your cold wallet, and, you know, you won't be affected by this type of attack, right? Everyone's always trying to get your Bitcoin. Don't trust anybody. And what's awesome about Bitcoin is that you don't have to trust anybody. Anyways, guys, I have a podcast coming out next week with John Vallis. Go check it out. I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. And yeah, thanks for tuning in this week.
All right, guys. So please don't forget to like and subscribe. Tune in tomorrow if you want Bitcoin only and no shitcoins.